Roland Tembo. Roland Tembo. Roland Tembo. People in the Jurassic fandom, they think he's really cool. They think he's a badass. They think he's a good guy. He's not really a villain. Well, I'm here today to try my best to debunk that misconception. And I say this with love in my heart for Roland Tembo. He's one of my favourite characters from the entire franchise. So don't misquote me here. I think he's a cool character. I just don't think he's cool in the same way as I used to think he was cool. In the same way that, and I hate to single you out, man, but you perfectly summed it up in this tweet. This guy called Jacob. Don't know who he is, but I saw this tweet the other day and it really ignited me to make this video. So I'm sorry, Jacob, but you perfectly summed up how I felt about Roland Tembo, and it's a great way of breaking down the character for this video, so I can only apologise, but thank you for doing this tweet. He says, Roland Tembo is an all-time monster movie character. Every time I watch this movie, like clockwork, I end up rooting for him, especially when he straight up tells the villain, Ludlow, I'm not dying in this movie, which is a reference to the line, I've spent enough time in the company of death, and exits the story. It's great! Apologies to the baby T-Rex, I'm sorry the man tied you down in a trap, but he's a good character. I'll give it a pass. Now, let's just get straight into it. Roland Tembo leaving the movie is not a good thing. He's leaving the story with his tail between his legs. So Roland, I'm going to have to really break it all down here. So Roland Tembo is sad because RJ is dead. RJ is his longtime friend, which is emphasised even more in the deleted scene.
RJ.
How did you know?
That cheap aftershave I send you every Christmas, you actually wear it.
Yeah.
Don't touch. Sit down, sit down.
But that's not in the film. In the current cut of the movie, it's like just subtly in the background. You know, RJ is following Roland around. He looks sad when Roland goes to look for Dieter Stark, who's missing, and he doesn't take RJ. And then, yeah, RJ goes off into the long grass after being dragged away from Roland when the T-Rexes are attacking. You can see there's a shot of Roland running up to them to shoot the T-Rex, and in the background you can see RJ wrestling these characters because he wants to be with Roland, right? So it's established in the movie that they are close, right? So Roland is sad because RJ is dead. RJ's death is the straw that broke the camel's back for Roland. The whole movie, he has had his eyes focused, his goals laser focused on hunting the male T-Rex because he wants to feel alive, and that's the only way he knows to feel alive, which is what he admits to Nick Van Owen when they have the whole speech he gives to Nick about, you know, that he quotes that guy who went up a mountain and people asked him, why'd you go up there to die? And he turns around and says, I didn't go up there to die, I went up there to live. Roland basically saying that hunting the T-Rex is making him feel alive. But Roland doesn't care about anyone else dying. When Eddie Carr, the real hero of the movie, dies, Roland's reaction is,
Rex just fed, so he won't stalk us for food.
Just fed? I assume you're talking about Eddie? You might show a little respect. The man saved our lives by giving his.
Then his troubles are over.
it's cold, it's unsympathetic. As Ian says, it's disrespectful. And I mean, one can only imagine what Roland's reaction would have been had someone gone up to him once RJ was dead and said, you know, well, his troubles are over. Obviously, Roland's relationship to RJ was different to Eddie Carr, to Ian Malcolm and all that sort of stuff. But the point is that Roland is just unsympathetic. Now, that is done by design, because at the beginning of the film, when we're first introduced to Roland, he's in a vehicle with Ludlow, and Ludlow is asking to set up base camp right there on the game trail, and Roland is like, you know, cancel that order. Do you want to set up base camp or a buffet? And then they cancel the order, and then Roland's like, I've been on too many safaris with rich dentists to listen to any more suicidal ideas. You might as well set up base camp in a Rex nest. That's basically what he says to Ludlow.
So go ahead, set up base camp right here, or in a swamp, or in the middle of a Rex nest, for all I care. But I've been on too many safaris with rich dentists to listen to any more suicidal ideas. Okay.
And so you get the sense that, as he says, take his word for it, he's been on so many safaris where he's seen bad decisions be made and people get hurt, maybe even die. And he's kind of numb to it all. And like he said, he's throwing in the towel on that. He's like, look, you go set up your base camp wherever. I don't care, really. I'm just here to hunt the T-Rex. But setting up base camp on this game trail is a dumb decision, basically. It's a badass opening. Makes him out to be a really cool character. But this is a sort of a false, it's kind of like a false sense of security around the character. He is, like I said, so laser focused on getting that T-Rex. He ignores the brutal fact that he is his own enemy. Roland Tembo he doesn't realise that he's this tragic character on the path of destruction, and it's by his own doing. Because he goes and, tries to shoot the T-Rex, as I said, right there. Nick has taken the bullets out of his gun, which leads him to pick up the tranquilizer, trank the male T-Rex, and while he's off doing that, RJ unfortunately goes off and gets killed by the raptors. So Roland Tembo has a tragic story. He isn't a character who is a good guy with a redemption or anything like that. He basically is like John Hammond in the first Jurassic Park, who has this idea of what he wants, and when it doesn't happen, he leaves and with his tail between his legs and is reflective of what's happened. But Roland, John Hammond comes back in sequels, and we see that how he tries to redeem himself and he fumbles again and makes new mistakes, but Roland obviously doesn't come back. So Roland is left to be this character who has almost like nothing to live for. It's like he learned a harsh lesson, but he doesn't do anything to redeem it. He doesn't do anything to take responsibility for it. Roland does realise that, this has all been for nothing, and I've got my friend killed because of it. But it's just the fact that he doesn't care about Eddie Carr's death. He doesn't care about Dieter Stark's death. He doesn't really show much sympathy for anyone else. But when RJ dies, when his friend dies, then he cares.
What's the matter?
He didn't make it. RJ.
Then his troubles are over.
The only way they could have written maybe a redemptive arc for Roland Tembo is if he came back during the San Diego incident to help Ian and Sarah capture the T-Rex again, to kind of try and right some wrongs. But they didn't write that. So he is just left as this kind of loser who just leaves the movie. And he doesn't even stop the fact that they've captured the T-Rex. Okay, I'm thinking right off the bat here. So here's a good way they could have done it, right? Not that this would make the film a good film, but I'm just spitballing an idea for Roland here, how he could have redeemed himself. And like I said, I wouldn't change anything about the character as it stands. I really like it as it is. Except for the blood on the jacket. When he sees the blood on the jacket with Sarah, he doesn't think, hang on a second, the predators are on this island, they might smell that blood. I'm a big game hunter. It leads me to start to believe that maybe he on purpose left the blood on her jacket. So, but anyway, that's all besides the point, and maybe that's something to mull on for the future. But there's also the bit where he says, to Ludlow, we don't want to set up base camp here on the game trail because carnivores hunt on it. You might as well set up base camp in a Rex nest. And then they've got their base camp, and then Roland and RJ bring the baby Rex with a broken leg close enough to their camp. So, when the explosions go off, you can see the light on Roland and RJ's faces. They're really close. So he was willing to bring the Rexes to their camp. I'm bit hypocritical. But anyway, besides those, I wouldn't change anything about Roland Tembo. But yeah, so what I'm suggesting here is just for a bit of fun to play a what if he could redeem himself. And one of the ways I think he could have done it is, Ludlow's there going, "You've got your trophy, buck only. Oh, and it's alive, and the whole world will line up to appreciate it and everything you've done for us. All that sort of stuff. And then Roland could have just said, you know, RJ didn't make it. There's been too many people dying, and I've not stepped up. And he just gets up. He puts loads of those tranquilizer darts into a rifle, and he just pumps the T-Rex full of tranquilizer to the point where he kills it. Now that means that one, he got his chance to kill the T-Rex, but it's not right. It's like he deliberately, it isn't the challenge. The T-Rex is already asleep. It's taken down. There's no challenge there. He just takes it out, and that's a lesson he's teaching himself about being a bastard. But also he stops InGen from taking the T-Rex off the island. Thus, any more deaths, because he kind of calls InGen the company of death. That's one way of reading that line.
I believe I've spent enough time in the company of death.
So he kind of knows what that's involved with this company, that he could have stopped them from creating more deaths. But obviously he leaves with his tail between his legs, and then the San Diego incident does happen. So even more people die because of Roland tranking that T-Rex and pursuing his dream of hunting the male T-Rex. So anyway, as you can see here, Jacob, your tweet saying he's a good character and that you're rooting for him. I would be rooting for him to redeem himself, but obviously they didn't do that. So as he stands, he is a tragic character, too cowardly to face up to his responsibilities, and he's just a loser. But he's the best loser that the Jurassic franchise has to offer.